In this video, we'll look at exponents and multiplication. First, we'll look at multiplying exponents with the same base, and then raising a power to a power. So always remember, whenever we're doing work with exponents, just think about what exponents really mean. It's repeated multiplication. So multiplying exponents with the same base. That means in this example here, right, I have the same base of 6. These are both 6 raised to a power. So, well, what's really happening when I take 6 squared times 6 to the 4th? It just means, right, 6 squared is 6 times 6. 6 to the 4th is 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, right? This is all multiplication, right? I mean, if I wanted to write it all out, not that you have to do it this way, right? But you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sixes. So it's 6 being multiplied 6 times. So 6 to the 6th is how you would simplify that. If I have 8 to the 3rd times 8 squared times 8 to the 3rd, right? Well, here's the 8 to the 3rd. And this is 8 squared. This is also 8 to the 3rd, right? It's just 8 times 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 8, you know, and if I count all of this up, I have 8 to the 8th. And then if I have 3n squared times 6n to the 5th, right, well, what does this mean? It just means I've got 3 times 6. I'm going to multiply those coefficients together. That gives me 18. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, n. So it's n to the 7th. So we can get a rule from what we saw in that previous slide. If I want to multiply powers with the same base, I'm just going to multiply the coefficients. I'm going to add the exponents. So in this example here, I have two powers with the same base. A is the base here. Okay, if one was A and one was B, then we couldn't use this rule. But I'm going to multiply the coefficients. 3 times 8 is 24. And then I'm just adding these exponents. This 3 and 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. So 24a to the 8th. How can I do that here? J to the 7th times j to the 3rd is simply going to be, they have the same base, so I can just add these exponents here. J to the 10th. 3f to the 3rd times 4f. Well, I'm going to multiply the coefficients together. 3 times 4 is 12. And then it's going to be f. Remember, there's the understood 1. That's always the exponent if we don't see it. So f to the 3rd times f to the 1st. Add those exponents together. F to the 4th. Here we're going to look at a different example. This is called raising a power to a power. So notice here, I only see one base here. And it's being raised to the second power. 3 is being raised to the second power. And then I'm taking that whole quantity and I'm raising it to the third power. Well, what does this really mean? Right? It means I'm taking 3 squared and I'm using it as a factor 3 times. Well, 3 squared is really 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Or, to simplify this, right, how many 3's am I multiplying all together here? 6 of them. This is 3 to the 6th. P to the 3rd to the 4th, right, that quantity p to the 3rd, I'm raising it to the 4th power. That means I'm using p to the 3rd as a factor 4 times. Well, what does that mean? Right? 3 p's being multiplied together in each of these parentheses, right? So all told, right, if we count them up, there are 12 p's being multiplied together there. So it's p to the 12th. W to the 5th, that quantity, raised to the 3rd power. Again, what does this mean? Right? It means I'm using w to the 5th as a factor 3 times. Right? So there are 5 w's in each of these parentheses here, which means, simplified, it's just w to the 15th. So my rule, to raise a power to a power, right? If I have a power in parentheses and I'm raising that quantity to another power, I'm just going to multiply the exponents together. So if I have h to the 8th and I'm raising that to the 5th, I'm just going to multiply 8 times 5 together. I'm going to get h to the 40th. Y to the 3rd to the 10th. Again, I'm just multiplying these two exponents together. I get y to the 30th. Okay, here are 4 problems for you to practice. G to the 8th, h to the 5th, g squared. Right? Only the g's have the same base. So these are the ones that I can simplify. G to the 8th times g squared. All right, multiplying powers of the same base, I'm adding these exponents. G to the 10th, h to the 5th stays the same. Next example, 4m squared times jm to the 5th times 9j to the 11th. Multiply the coefficients. 4 times 9 is 36. M squared times m to the 5th, I'm going to add these two exponents together. So it's going to be m squared times m to the 5th. I'm going to add those. And then for j, remember this j here, it's j to the 1st, even though we don't see it. So it's 1 plus 11. So simplified, this is all 36 m to the 7th, j to the 12th. And 3 and 4 are examples of raising a power to a power. That's when I have a power in parentheses and I'm raising it to another power. Remember, I'm going to multiply those exponents. So 8 times 4 is 32, so this is just g to the 32nd. 5 times 11 is 55, so this is m to the 55th. And that's how we work with exponents and multiplication.